let's review this game. e4, e6. We have French defense. e5, advanced variation. And the first couple moves are great. So this is book move basically. Knight g7. So black can also consider play d7 before moving the knight, because probably we can open the c file and move our rook to control the c file as soon as possible. So knight e7, yeah, that's okay. But I would just prefer moving the bishop before the knight. b4, take knight f5, bishop b2. Yeah, bishop b2 is a good move, so we can protect the d4, and it's better than moving bishop to e3 because we can also control the c3 square. And a6, develop pieces, and castle, queen d3. I'm thinking, so the move after queen d3 is probably we want to move this rook out, or maybe move the knight to d2 after develop the queen. Yeah, that's good. f6, so black has started to challenge the center. Okay, so in this case, I think we can take the pawn, because, for example, if white take, we can take that. So the e5 is not an outpost, so we can develop this bishop and maybe play bishop b5 later, and we can move the rook out. So I think it's quite good. And black also have this semi-open file with our queen target at f2. So I think we can accept this exchange. And if white take that with a pawn, I think it's still okay. We can play bishop d7 and rook to c8, also the semi-open file. So I think this is the reason we play f6, because we want to first of all challenge center and also open up the f file. Queen c7, so we are adding some pressure at e5. So knight b3, that's quite good. So we can maneuver the knight to c5, for example, and also support the d4 pawn. So like once the d4 pawn move to e5, the knight can also go to d4. b6, well, so I think the reason moving the pawn to b6 is to develop bishop to b7. But in this case, I think bishop to d7 is better than b7, because first of all, bishop to d7, and in the future we can move it to b5. There is a open diagonal, and also d7 bishop can protect e6, and this pawn is potentially a weakness. So when we play b6 and the bishop to b7, it's still blocked by our d5 pawn. So, and also it takes another extra step. So maybe moving the bishop to d7 is better. Rook e1. Yeah, aiming at the file. So, but I'm also thinking we can control the c file, because this is the open file. We can move the rook as soon as possible. Rook e8, bishop d1. So I assume we want to open up the e file, but compared with bishop d1, I would play bishop to f1, because we can keep the two rooks connected, and maybe we can also g3 move the bishop to g2. So bishop d2, d1 is I feel like it's not as good as bishop to f1, and the bishop at here, and also can target at the queen side. Bishop d7, bishop c2. Okay, yeah, I think that's the reason white move the bishop like from this pattern, aiming at h7. That's a good idea actually. And we are threatening by g4. So let's see. g6, yeah, I think that's the only move. And queen to d2. Exchange. Yeah, taking that with the pawn. Bishop to f8. Exchange. So white is better. because white has first of all, black has uh, isolated pawn in center, and the knight is very close to d4. It's a very good spot for the knight, and the bishop has a very good diagonal aiming at the black king and support e5. This is a center pawn, and also white is going to play rook c1 to attack the queen and control the c file. So yeah, so in this case I think white is better. And rook e7, queen c3. Well, I don't think offering a queen trade is a good choice for white, because actually I think we can play rook c1 to attack the queen, and we can get the initiative. And yeah, the queen is really hard to move. So if we move the bishop, we can play knight d4. The bishop is pinned. It's not good. Queen to d8. We can play bishop to f6. Maybe queen to b8. And yeah, we can still play bishop to f6. And rook to c7. We can bishop e5 to pin the rook. And if rook to e8, we can play e7. And the bishop is dead. Take, and then we have a queen. And yeah, we can take this pawn, queen to f6, and white is way better. So yeah, I think rook c1 is a better move than offering a queen trade. So I think black can take that. Black play bishop to g7. Yeah, once the queen trade, I think the advantage, the white's advantage is quite diminished. Exchanging pieces. Yeah, so the problem is the e6 pawn cannot get any support from the other pawn, so it's very weak. Knight d5, bishop to c6. So in this case, we are about to lose a pawn, but we can control the c file as a compensation. So for example, rook c1. If the bishop take our pawn, we can play rook c6 to pin the bishop and attack these two pawns. So this could be the best plan for white. Okay. Yeah, taking the pawn probably is a bad move, because maybe not. Knight c6. The bishop is still safe. Yeah, well, we can take the pawn actually. So a5, knight c6, take the pawn. Let me think. So I think we can take with the king. Why is that better? Because if white take our pawn, we can play king d6, and white has to move the knight. Otherwise, the knight is captured, and the knight moved away. For example, d4 can take the pawn. So black will have up one pawn. So we actually have 17 minutes on the clock. So yeah, but we made the move really quickly. So quick, like 6 seconds. It's so quick. So we need to think about. So every exchange is important. So we need to think about which piece is the best piece to accept, to take the rook. So when we take that with the rook, so can we play bishop to d7? So no, this is not as good as king to d6, because knight to b8, it can attack our bishop, and then the pawn can take our pawn, play a6. Yeah. So we have same number of pawns. And why don't we play king e5? So we need to activate our king, right? And if I play a4, we can play queen d4. So our king can go to a like more active space. Yeah, we need to activate the king. We need to make the king like closer to the, for example, our pawn. So king e7. King e7 is a bit passive. And white developed king. Oh, so we shouldn't exchange the bishop, and that's a very basic knowledge we learn in the pawns endings. The reason is when we have a position like this, so either side has a passed pawn, white has a pawn, black has a d pawn. But the position favors white a lot because this pawn is far away from the kings, which means the black king needs more steps to take the pawn. On the other hand, white takes much fewer steps to take the d5 pawn. So which means once white king capturing, for example, d pawn, it's easier for the white king to getting closer to the king side pawns. So that's a problem. So in this case, I think, yeah, again, so we need to maybe bishop to d7, and we can maybe end up as a draw. So we need to think about it to evaluate after the exchange what is the outcome. And we should spend much time on this position. And once it's traded, yeah, I think white did really well, just pushing the pawn to forcing the black king moving away from king side. And yeah, I think white did really well in this position. Cool, so that's it.